Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're doing something a little different. Usually we look at a specific business trend, a piece of tech, or maybe a new health protocol. But today we're looking at you, or rather, the version of you that's hitting a ceiling.
The career plateau. Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
It really does. I think we've all been there. You finish your undergrad, you throw the cap in the air, you work for a few years, and you get comfortable. And then you look up the corporate ladder and realize everyone above you has all these acronyms after their name that you just don't have.
Right. It's an alphabet soup of PG dips, honors, MBAs, MPhils. It's intimidating.
Totally.
And what often happens, is people panic by education. They sign up for a master's degree because it sounds prestigious without even realizing they might not qualify, or maybe even worse, that it might be the wrong tool for the job they actually want.
That is the mission today. We are looking at a stack of advisory materials, course breakdowns, and academic frameworks from Regent Business School. And we are going to take a machete to that confusion. Specifically, we're going to dismantle the difference between an honors degree and a master's degree.
And this isn't just about semantics. I mean, in the education systems we're looking at, specifically the South African and broader Commonwealth models, these are two completely different beasts. And confusing them can cost you time, money, and, actually stall your career rather than accelerate it.
So here's the plan. We're going to start with the bridge, the honors degree. What is it and why is it like a non-negotiable for some people? Then we'll move to the heavy hitter, the master's. We'll put them in a head-to-head cage match, sort of, to see which one fits your specific career profile, and we'll wrap up by looking at the certificates myth.
Sounds like a solid roadmap.
Let's start with the honors degree. Now, for some of our listeners, this might be a totally foreign concept. In the U.S., for example, this concept barely exists. You do 4 years of college, you get a bachelor's, and you're done.
Yeah.
But the source material from Regent really highlights that in many systems, a bachelor's is 3 years.
Right, and that's the crucial context. It really is. A standard Bachelor of Commerce or Bachelor of Arts is a 3-year broad engagement with the subject. You learn the landscape, but you don't necessarily learn how to navigate it alone. That is where the honors degree comes in. It's that 4th year.
The source calls it a postgraduate specialization. Okay. But I want to dig into the vibe of this year, because the text warns that students often get blindsided by the intensity shift. It's not just senior year part 2, is it?
No, not at all. And if you treat it like that, you will likely fail. The source material is very explicit about the requirement for significant self-study. In your undergrad, the lecturer leads the way. They say, read chapter 4, memorize these definitions, and there will be a multiple choice test on Tuesday. In honors, the dynamic completely flips.
How so? Can you give me an example?
Well, they'll give you a problem and a reading list of maybe 20 academic articles, and they'll say, see you in 2 weeks with a solution. You aren't just consuming knowledge anymore, you are expected to synthesize it. Regent lists programs like the BCom Honors in Human Resource Management. So, in an undergrad HR class, you memorize labor laws. In an honors HR class, you're given a complex, messy case study of an unfair dismissal and told to build a defense strategy using those laws.
So it's the transition from passive learning to active application. You're no longer the passenger, you're in the driver's seat, but the instructor's still in the car with you.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. It's the initial qualification for specialization. You are zooming in on a specific vertical finance, HR, management, and learning the mechanics of how it actually works, not just the theory of how it should work.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate here. I'm a busy professional. Maybe I'm 25, 26, I have a bachelor's, I have a job. Why should I pay tuition and give up my weekends for a year just to do self-study? Can't I just learn that on the job? What is the actual ROI here, beyond just having another piece of paper?
That is the classic question. And to answer it, we have to look at something economists call signaling theory.
Signaling theory. Okay, hang on. Break that down for us.
It's the idea that when an employer looks at your CV, they have incomplete information. I mean, they don't know if you're lazy, they don't know if you're smart, they don't know if you crumble under pressure, they only see the signals you send. And an honors degree is a massive signal. The source explicitly says it shows you are a hard worker with a higher capacity for independent learning.
So it's basically a grit filter.
Exactly, a grit filter. Think about it from a hiring manager's perspective. If I hire someone with just a 3-year degree, I know they can follow instructions. If I hire someone with an honors degree, I know they can troubleshoot. The source lists the skills you get: troubleshooting, problem solving, critical thinking. You are signaling to the market that you require less management. You are a low-maintenance high performer.
That's a really compelling framing.
Yeah.
You're paying for the badge that says, I can figure it out.
Yeah.
You're buying credibility.
Yes. But there is another benefit in the text that is much more tangible, especially for our listeners who might be looking to move borders.
You mean for immigration?
This is huge, and it's so often overlooked. The source notes that honors degrees are recognized worldwide. In many points-based immigration systems, think Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, you get specific points for your education level.
And a 3-year degree often just doesn't cut it.
It counts, but it counts for less. A 4-year education, which is bachelor plus honors, that often bumps you into a higher bracket. It can literally be the difference between a visa approval and a rejection. It's a passport.
That is wild. So if you are planning a global career, that 1 year isn't just academic, it's a strategic investment in mobility.
Absolutely. It opens doors that remain locked for standard bachelor's holders.
So who is this for, really? Is it just for the super nerds who love libraries?
No.
The source mentions students are often invited based on their marks.
There are 2 cohorts, really. The first is what you could call the academic draft. The top performers who are pulled into academia, they are the ones who might go on to be professors. But the second group, and I think the one relevant to most of our listeners, are the strategists. These are people who know they want a master's degree eventually.
Because you can't just skip a step.
Generally, no. The honors is the bridge. You usually cannot jump from a 3-year bachelor's straight to a master's. The academic gap is just too wide. The honors year builds the research muscle you absolutely need for the next level. You need to prove you can handle the swimming pool before they throw you in the ocean.
Which brings us to the heavy hitter, the deep ocean, the master's degree, the MBA, the MCOM.
The destination.
The source describes this as a 1 to 2 year qualification.
Yeah.
But let's be real, the difference isn't just the time. If honors is about independence and grit, what is the master's about?
Authority.
Authority. Okay, expand on that.
When you do an honors degree, you are proving you can understand and apply complex theories that other people have written. When you do a master's, you are expected to create insight. The source emphasizes the robust research aspect, and the centerpiece of all this is the dissertation.
The dreaded dissertation. I think everyone has a friend who has disappeared for 6 months, just, crying over their dissertation.
It's infamous for a reason. The text calls it a complex research project, but let's translate that into reality. You have to identify a gap in the current knowledge, something nobody has fully solved or explained. Then gather data, analyze it, and propose a solution. And here is the kicker. The grade for this paper often determines if you get the degree at all.
That feels incredibly high stakes.
It is extremely high stakes. It's not a test you can cram for the night before. It is a marathon. You are contributing to the body of knowledge, not just memorizing it.
So why do it? I mean, if honors gets me the independent worker badge and helps me immigrate, what does the master's get me that justifies all that stress and the cost?
It gets you the keys to the C-suite. The source directly connects master's degrees to executive-level positions and climbing the corporate ladder to the top.
So it's the difference between being the manager and being the director.
Think of it this way. An honors graduate can manage a process. They can run the HR department efficiently. A master's graduate, someone with an MBA, for example, can look at the data and decide if the company should even have an in-house HR department or if they should outsource it to save 20% on the bottom line.
It's strategic versus operational.
Exactly. The source mentions the ability to make better decisions based on data. That is what you are buying. You are learning to view the business as a holistic system. You aren't just looking at your department, you're looking at how your department affects finance and marketing and the long-term strategy of the firm.
And I'm guessing the paycheck reflects that.
The source is pretty blunt about this. Higher salaries. It also provides credibility for career changes. If you are an engineer who wants to be a CEO, nobody will trust you with the finances until you have that MBA. It's a signal of competence in a new field. It says, I understand the language of business at an executive level.
Okay, so we have the bridge, which is honors, and the destination masters. But I want to pit them against each other for a second, because I feel like a lot of listeners might be thinking, well, I'm ambitious, I'm smart, I should just go for the masters and get it over with.
That's the instinct, isn't it? Go big or go home. But the source provides a kind of decision matrix that suggests that's not always the right move. In fact, it can be a dangerous move.
Walk us through it. Why would I hold back?
The matrix says, choose honors if you want advanced industry knowledge and research experience, but you aren't ready for the long-term commitment of a master's.
So it's a lower risk bet, a sampler.
It's a try before you buy. An honors degree is 1 year. It tests your appetite for research. If you struggle with the mini dissertation in honors, or if you just hate the isolation of self-study, you will absolutely drown in a master's program. Honors lets you level up without signing your life away for 2 years. It saves you from making a very, very expensive mistake.
That makes a lot of sense. It's a sandbox. And you choose masters if what?
You choose masters if you are aiming for deep specialization or executive roles. If you want to be a specialist expert like an authority in Islamic finance or a general manager, the honors ceiling is just too low. You need the masters. You need that heavy artillery.
But we have to address the order of operations again. You mentioned earlier that honors is the bridge. But is it always the bridge? Is there a loophole? Because I know some people who went straight to masters.
There is a nuance here, and it's an important one. The expert voice in the text clarifies that while bachelor to honors to masters is the standard route, institutions like Regent do look at the NQF level.
Okay, hold on. NQF level.
Yeah.
That sounds like bureaucratic jargon. Break that down for us. Why should I care about an NQF?
The National Qualifications Framework. Think of it like a currency exchange for education. You can't just trade any degree for any degree. They have specific values. A standard 3-year degree is level 7. A master's is level 9.
Okay, got it.
And you generally can't jump from level 7 to level 9. The gap is just too big. You need the level 8 bridge.
Which is the honors degree.
Usually. And here is the loophole. Some professional bachelor's degrees are different. If you did a 4-year engineering degree or certain law degrees or a specialized 4-year professional program, those are often already rated as level 8.
Ah, I see. So if you did a 4-year professional degree, you might already have the bridge built into your undergrad.
Exactly. You might be able to apply straight for the master's because you've already done the level 8 work. But you have to check your NQF level. Don't just assume. If your certificate says level 7 and you apply for a master's, you're going to get a rejection email. You're going to honors first.
That is a crucial check for anyone listening. Go dig out your old degree certificate, blow the dust off it, and look for that number. It's the difference between acceptance and rejection.
It really is. It saves a lot of heartache.
I want to pivot to something that confuses me constantly. I scroll through LinkedIn and I see people with a postgraduate certificate in management. It sounds fancy. It sounds prestigious. Is that a master's? Is it a mini master's? What is that?
The source gives a definitive no. Burst the bubble.
A postgraduate certificate or a PG cert or a postgraduate diploma, a PG dip, is not a master's. They're completely different tools for different jobs.
How are they different? Is it just the length?
Length is part of it. The source highlights that PG certs are shorter, usually less than a year, but the main difference is the content. A certificate usually has no thesis. There is no extensive research project.
It's purely coursework.
Mostly, yes.
Yeah.
It's vocational. It's about acquiring a specific skill set and acquiring it quickly.
So when would I choose that over a degree? I mean, why would I want less education?
Let's look at a real-world scenario. Let's say you are a lawyer, you're great at law, you're already at NQF level 8 or 9, but you want to start your own firm and you realize you know nothing about marketing. Do you need a master's in marketing?
Probably not. That seems like massive overkill. I don't need to write a thesis on consumer behavior theory. I just need to know how to run ads and manage a brand. Exactly. You take a postgraduate diploma in digital marketing. It's a tactical strike. You get the skills, you get the credential, and you get back to work. Regent offers these in things like project management and Islamic finance. They are practical tools for people who don't need to be academic researchers.
I like that distinction. A master's is a strategic overhaul of your thinking. A certificate is a tactical addition to your toolkit.
Perfect way to put it. You don't buy a semi-truck when you just need a screwdriver.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone from the anxiety of the 3-year stagnation all the way to the executive suite. If we have to boil this all down for the listener who is commuting right now, maybe staring at a Regent application tab on their phone, what is the summary?
The summary is this. Honors is the bridge. It transforms you from a student who follows instructions into an independent worker who solves problems. It signals grit and self-management.
Yeah, the master's.
The master's is the leap. It transforms you from a worker into an expert. It signals authority, the ability to handle data, and executive potential.
And the certificate.
The certificate is the pivot. It's the quick skill acquisition to fill a specific gap in your armor.
You know, what strikes me most about this deep dive is the focus on critical thinking. We talk about it in the honors section and then again with the masters. We live in an era of AI. I can ask ChatGPT to write a marketing plan. I can ask it to summarize a law.
Facts are cheap now. Information is free.
Right. So if facts are free, what are we paying for with these degrees? Why spend the money?
You are paying for the ability to discern. In a world drowning in misinformation and AI-generated content, the value of a human being who can look at conflicting data points, analyze the source, and say, this is true, this is noise, and this is the path forward, that value has never been higher.
That's the ROI. It's not learning what to think. It's learning how to process the world.
That is what keeps you employed when the bots take over the spreadsheet tasks. The machine can generate the data, but the master's graduate interprets the data.
I want to leave everyone with a final thought, something to mull over. We talk about the self-study requirement of the honors degree. You know, the late nights, the weekends, the isolation of figuring it all out yourself when the professor isn't holding your hand.
The grit factor.
We often obsess over the prestige of the university brand on the certificate. But here's my question for you. If an honors degree proves you can learn independently, does the true value come from the specific syllabus you studied? Or does the value come from the sheer resilience you demonstrated by finishing something that required you to be your own teacher?
Is it the content or is it the character?
I have a feeling that in the trenches of a chaotic work week, I'd bet on the person with the character every time.
I would too, every single time.
So check your NQF levels, choose your path bridge, leap, or pivot, and thanks for diving in with us today.
See you next time.